finally at the University of Colorado in Denver with his film and television degree. Um, but we know that things like flow track, flow wrestling, they tend to give a lot of the shine to the Power Four schools, and that's only ones that get noticed. And Jimmy and I are both junior college All-Americans as well too. So we've kind of come at this where we know that there's a lot of great programs out there with a lot of great coaches that are doing a lot of great things, and we're just trying to use our platform to give those people the shine that they deserve, but also create conversations that we wish we would have had access to when we were going through the recruiting process. Because even though our parents, our guidance counselors, and our coaches, they might think that they have our best interest at heart, they don't always know what's out there. And so we want everyone to know that if you're a hardworking student athlete and you're willing to put in the time and effort at the next level, whether it's Division One, Division Two, Division Three, NAI, or junior college, there's a place for you, and we want to help you find that place.
Awesome.
Cool. Well, we're excited to get into it with you tonight.
Yes, me as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, howdy and aloha. We are here, you are there, and you are now rocking with the best. We appreciate you tuning in for another live episode of Airey Bros Radio. Tonight, we're heading back to New Jersey and on the banks of the Raritan to talk to Scarlet Knights distance running cross country track and field coach Nicol Starks, the associate head coach for Rutgers cross country and track and field. But before we get rolling, y'all know the drill. Make sure you hammer that like button and are subscribed on YouTube. Drop a comment. Every review, and share helps us grow and give back to the sports we love. And as always, this episode is fueled by Black Sheep Endurance for all your ultra marathon and nutrition coaching needs. And let's not forget why we're here. We're here to shine a light on the programs, coaches, athletes, and stories we wish we had access to growing up. If you love college running, coaching culture, and stories about program building and athlete development, this one is for you. Now, on to tonight's guest, Coach Nicol Starks, the associate head coach of Rutgers cross country and track and field. She's entering her 5th season on the banks. In that time, she has helped the Scarlet Knights record record-breaking success, including school records in the 800, 1500 mile, 3K, and distance medley relay. She's coached all-region runner Alex Carlson, the first Scarlet Knight to earn the honors since 2015, with the best individual cross-country finish since 2003. She led Rutgers women to cross-country to back-to-back program best finishes in 2021 and 2022. She previously coached at NYU, producing NCAA qualifiers, All-Americans, and conference award winners. She's a 2012 University of Richmond graduate, an NCAA All-American in the 3,000-meter steeplechase, a 6-time Atlantic 10 conference champion, and a 2016 Olympic Trials Qualifier, as well as being in the Hall of Fame for both Ridge High School and the University of Richmond. Go Spiders, honoring an outstanding career as an athlete and a coach. Without further ado, it is an honor and a pleasure to have you joining us this evening. We do greatly appreciate your time. Coach Starks, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you guys so much for having me.
Yeah, it's an honor and a pleasure to chat with you. We are Jersey natives, so whenever we get to connect with our Jersey people, it usually lends itself to being a pretty awesome conversation. It's a good vibe. So before we do get too far into it, anything you would like to plug or promote, share, anything you got going on, anywhere recruits, parents, people with questions can find you, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so we've got our Rutgers TFXC. That's our handle on Instagram. And then my coaching one is just actually it's Coach Trainer _ Rutgers. I sometimes go by my maiden name just because that's how I obviously was raised in New Jersey. We're slowly transitioning over to Starks, though. I think I finally got my new office nameplate that says Nicol Starks, not Nicol Trainer. But,
Okay.
we're moving on.
Little baby steps, right?
Yeah.
So, Coach, probably the two most important questions we're going to ask you, and I think we know the answer to this, but we're going to ask anyway, being a graduate of Ridge High School. Is it pork roll or Taylor ham?
Oh God. So I am actually not a pork roll or Taylor ham girl at all. I'm more of
Okay.
like a bacon, egg, and cheese girl. My
Okay.
brother, though, he will say that it's pork roll, which I don't
Okay.
know. I think that's like what the North Jersey answer. Taylor ham's more the South Jersey. I think I could
Other
also
way.
other way. Oh
Other
geez.
way. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't mess around with the pork roll or the Taylor ham. We go bacon,
Okay.
egg, and cheese all the
All
way.
right. Nothing wrong with that. And then the next one we have for you is Central Jersey a real place?
I don't think so. I think you got
Oh,
North
okay.
South. And I think you have like the shore as like a asterisk region if you break it down that much. But I don't know. And then I don't know if New Brunswick is like right in the middle of Jersey, but I think it's
Yeah.
a little bit more north.
Okay. All right. Good answer. Well, we are from the shore, so we say that, but we also say Central Jersey. But I think more and more we lean to just saying we're from the shore, right, Jim?
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Coach, one thing we like to start off our podcast with when we talk to coaches is what their origin story is, how they got started in the sport, and how that helped them get into coaching.
Yeah, of course. So I actually started out as a swimmer, like back in elementary school, middle school, like that was like the main sport for me. I didn't really get into running until my freshman year at Ridge. Just like doing a fall sport, like my idea behind it was to stay in shape for swimming. Swimming was like more of the winter, spring, like spring was like more championship tail end. And I swam for my local club in Basking Ridge, Somerset Hills YMCA, which I think it might have a different name by now because this was years ago. But then I slowly, I guess after that first freshman season running for Ridge, it was the first time our women's team qualified for a meet of champions, which was a really big deal. And I started to understand like more of what that meant. But I actually didn't do track until my sophomore year because I continued swimming that first year. Sophomore year, ended up doing outdoor track. I actually like really randomly got really sick during the winter. So that kind of like forced me to give up swimming in a way, which I guess now looking back on it is kind of like a blessing in disguise. Cause then I ended up running outdoor track, had like a pretty good sophomore year. And then the next year was my junior year was really when I like started running full time, I guess how they say it, like cross country, indoor into outdoor. And that's really when I saw like my time start to drop. And then obviously continued that into my senior year as I started to get recruited. So yeah, I didn't really have any intention of like being a runner when I first entered high school, but I definitely left high school like loving the sport. Obviously ended up at University of Richmond with Steve and Lori Taylor, and they were great at developing me, like getting me to the next level. I qualified for the regional meet my freshman year there, and that was just like a big eye-opening experience. And then qualified for NCAA's a couple of times, got my butt handed to me at in the 5K my sophomore year at outdoor NCAA's. But then yeah, they did a great job with me. I ended up doing 5 years there. I guess I got hurt actually like at regionals that final year, which was like a big bummer. I thought that I was like gearing up for something really good at the NCAA meet, but I like somehow managed to finish a steeplechase on a bum ankle. And I thought that kind of had ruined my chances of like continuing to run after college. But luckily, Coach Gagliano, who was a legendary Rutgers coach, actually had New Jersey, New York Track Club up in New Brunswick. So I had actually talked to my high school coach like I was like, I don't really know what I want to do after school. I have a degree in math and economics, but like I never did internships over the summer because we were training, like NCAA's went kind of late to like start an internship in May. We got NCAA's in the middle of June, like didn't ever really kind of line up. So he was like, come coach with me. So that's kind of how everything started. So in 2012, I graduated from Richmond, moved home, lived with my parents, coached at Ridge High School, and then ran for New Jersey, New York Track Club. And I know Coach Gags took a risk on me just because, I mean, the ladies at the time that I was training with, you had Julie Cully, who also was a Rutgers legend. She had just won the Olympic Trials in the 5K that 2012 season. Delilah DiCrescenzo, amazing steepler out of Columbia. Ashley Higginson, one of my good friends, steepler at Princeton. Like we went head to head a couple times in some of those NCAA meets. She always beat me, but that's okay. We're still good pals. But yeah, that's kind of how everything started at Ridge. And then I stayed at Ridge until 2016, like after the Olympic trials, like so coached with Coach Mooney there for those 4 years. And then actually Coach Gags helped set me up with NYU. We're kind of just introducing me to the head coach there at the time. His name was Arison Hertel. He was a sprinter out of Columbia. So he ended up interviewing me, and I brought me on as the distance coach at NYU. Obviously, much different than high school, coaching at the college level, especially in downtown Manhattan. At the time, it was pretty challenging just because they, I guess, were getting their facilities upgraded. So they completely demolished like the main athletic facility. So for the really it was technically 5 years, but I'll call it 3.5 years because of COVID. There was essentially a year and a half that we weren't allowed to compete. We didn't really have like a home base. So being in the middle of Manhattan, that definitely made things challenging. And then ultimately they got a new athletic director. They went a new direction with the program. The guy who's there now, Tyler Deck Shipley, he's doing a great job with the program. And then that kind of gave me the opportunity to apply for the job at Rutgers. Actually, a buddy of mine, Travis Mahoney, that we ran together, he kind of let me know, was like, hey, like I heard like the Rutgers assistant position is opening. Like they were reconstructing how the program was run. The men and women used to be completely separate. And then when Coach Mulqueen decided to retire, Coach Jelly took over both, and then they were looking for an assistant. So Coach Jelly actually coached at Temple while I was at Richmond. So we had crossed paths just because we were both in the Atlantic 10 conference. So then I interviewed, ended up getting the assistant job, and then just kind of have been with the program since fall of 2021. And then last, I guess, August of 2024 was when I ended up getting the promotion from assistant distance coach to associate head of the cross country and track programs. So that's how I got to where I am today.
How has your role changed since you went from assistant to associate head coach?
Just writing like the training now, really utilizing the resources that we have on campus. I'm still fairly involved in recruiting, but I have a great assistant, Lexi Wesley. She's like really now kind of taking the reins with the like late night phone calls. I'm pretty sure she's on probably some calls right now. I have a 17-month-old daughter, so the late night phone calls or evening phone calls get a little bit harder when she's like crying for my attention. So Lexi's done a great job with that. But we have his name is Morgan Murray. He is an exercise scientist, exercise physiologist. He was actually a graduate of the Rutgers track and field program. So he's done a lot of like the lactate testing with us, which has been amazing. So just really utilizing the science behind the training. I know a lot of programs across the country have really started doing that. I mean, it wasn't really a thing, or maybe it was a thing back when I was training, but it was not something that a lot of people had access to. I never dabbled in it. But yeah, he's been a huge help for us. So just like helping me write the training in the best way that I can. That's like really I guess the main difference. And then just, I guess technically since I am the associate head of track as well, that I mean, I think I've done this when I was an assistant as well, but really trying to get to know like all the other event groups. I mean, I know I will never coach pole vault. I will never coach jumps, but just to like have an idea of what's going on with the kids in each of those event groups, but really just like making sure I have a pulse on what's, happening with all the different groups.
How has the season been going so far?
So far, it's been going very well. We actually just competed at Princeton Invitational this last Friday. It was our last regular season meet, I guess you could say, since our next one will be Big Tens on Halloween. The guys, we've said this like almost every year since I've been back at Rutgers, but this is like the best distance team that we've had like in recent history. I know Coach Gags coached some legendary runners back in his day. And then there was kind of a lull for a couple of years with the distance program, but we're now kind of like seeing it come back to life. Like we're kind of beating some teams that a couple of years ago we were way far behind. So that's like really promising looking to Big Tens. That is, yeah, literally in like a week and a half. We leave next Wednesday. So yeah, it's coming up fast. But yeah, so far the season has been going definitely very well.
Where are Big Tens this year?
They're over at Michigan State. So we actually went to pre-Big Tens at the beginning of September. It was our second meet. So we got to preview the course. They did the full 6K for women, 8K for the men. So yeah, we're excited. There was probably maybe like a third of the Big Ten teams went to the meet, the pre-Big Ten meet. So that's kind of nice that we like to do that just to go preview the course, kind of see what we're getting ourselves into. It actually was a nice golf course, nothing crazy hilly, but it did roll a little bit just so you're not feeling like you're running on a grass track. We were at Illinois last year, and that was just 2K loops over and over, and it was like super flat. So it was literally like a grass track. So luckily this one has a little bit of like ups and downs, but nothing out of control, I would say. Nothing, we don't see any courses like Homedale in college. Except,
Yeah.
I guess actually that's a lie. Michigan's golf course is super hilly. I didn't actually run the course there at all. Like sometimes I will like jog parts of it, but like the team was like, yeah, it's like really like it's almost unnecessarily hilly. So we had Big Tens there a few years ago, but yeah, we're excited to head out to Michigan State in a week and a half.
Okay. Well, back in the day when I was at Monmouth, we used to have the New Jersey Collegiate Championships, and we used to run a 8K at Homedale Park.
Ugh, I heard that AK course is not great.
It's a challenge, but it was a fun. Yeah, it was fun to go back and having run there so much as a high schooler, to go back there and run the backwoods and do all that sort of stuff. And yeah, I love the aspect of like all the New Jersey colleges or any state, the colleges coming together and having like a state championship. Um, but with so many meets and so many different amazing courses out there, it's probably tough to fit something like that in the schedule these days.
Yeah, I guess Princeton tried to put something like that together for like our very first meet this season. They call it the Jersey Jam. So it was us, Ryder, Monmouth, Princeton, obviously, and then actually UPenn came over for it as well. So we had the Jersey schools plus UPenn, but it was shorter distances. I think it was a 5.8K for the men and a 4.1 for the ladies. So yeah, it would be cool to have something like that. But yeah, like you're saying, the schedule gets a little jam packed.
Jam packed, and I think nowadays people are probably racing a little bit less than maybe what we did back in the late 90s.
Yeah, that's also very valid.
Well, you mentioned the lactate testing and that sort of stuff, and one of the questions we love to ask because it's such a hot topic these days, are the Scarlet Knights dabbling in the world of double threshold training at all?
We are. So this is actually the first season that we've done it. Tuesday afternoon. So we don't do it race week. But we did I guess we did do it for some of like the early season meets, but once we hit October, we did not do it race week at all. It was something that the guys wanted to talk a little bit about last year. We're like, okay, like if we're gonna do this, we need to do this right. We don't need to like cook ourselves too much at the beginning of the season. So we've actually reduced the volume on the double threshold now for like the month of October. We were like hitting it a little bit heavier in September, but we honestly we do the same workout every Tuesday afternoon. So like the double session, it's anywhere from 6 to 8 times 3 minutes on, 1 minute off. And it's just like basically you're feeling out the pace rather than like feeling like you're needing to hit certain splits. So I encourage people to go off the track. I know some people go to the track anyway, but it's just a way to get a little bit of extra work in the legs without completely like overloading yourself. And then everyone, or I guess we didn't require this by any means, but over the summer, people that were interested in it went to do the full lactate testing with Morgan in the lab. So we have like really good data, not just for this year, but then even to move forward. Like last year, we did a little bit of it, but it was definitely not on the scale that we did it last year, or sorry, this year. I think there was maybe like 2 or 3 people that didn't want to do it. And we just kind of have made their paces based on how they're racing, who they race closely to. But yeah, the lactate testing, I think, has been huge for just getting those like proper threshold paces, keeping people relatively healthy. We haven't had anything major, fingers crossed, for the season. So yeah, we are officially dabbling in the world of the double threshold. I know that's the new hot thing.
Yeah, I feel like if teams aren't doing it, the kids are chomping at the bit, asking the coaches to do it, and if they're not doing it, they want to know why per se. That's they're not doing it. It's just
Yes.
such a
Or
hot
they're going to
topic.
go do it anyway, even if like the coaches aren't there. Cause we have our morning practice, how it's blocked off, and we won't be there for the afternoon practice. It's like a captain's practice. So just cause technically it's outside of the practice block. So it is optional, but obviously the guys will meet up. I think they do it in kind of 2 groups based on their class schedules. And they'll go do it and get it done.
Yeah, I probably would have been one of those kids that was doing it, even though coach said not to do it.
How do you navigate those waters when you have a morning practice? This is what we want you to do. Then they have the rest of the day to do what they want, and you have kids maybe doing a little too much. How do you kind of have those conversations?
Yeah, I mean, we use Strava a decent amount. We have like our own little Strava group.
Wow.
So if someone's doing something and uploading it, we're gonna see it. We actually had that issue a little bit a couple years ago with one of our guys that was just like going out and hammering things, even when we were not prescribing it at all. And we're kind of like, look, if we don't know what you're doing, like, and we're then prescribing you things in practice, thinking that you might be recovered when you're not, like, that's how you're going to get hurt. So just like preaching the consistency in training rather than having some like major 100% golden workout. Like it's not, that is not what's going to get you better. It's just like the little things day in, day out and like maintaining your health and your longevity. That's like how you are going to get to the next level, not by trying to crank out double threshold, like if you're not supposed to be doing it or anything like that. Because even our freshman guys that came in, we actually started, I guess, over the summer. Like I started writing that up in the summer training with our upperclassmen. And then once our incomers got to campus, we kind of made the decisions on, you guys are going to be on the lower end of the volume if you want to do this. And, they obviously want to do what the other guys are doing. So they're going to say yes.
When it comes to cross country, where are you guys running?
So we are running in the neighborhoods of Piscataway they have a campus. I guess, well, actually, the guys have a Livingston loop. I did it with them a few years ago. It's like roughly 7 miles, I want to say, just through the neighborhoods in Piscataway. And then they also have a couple different campus loops. They have a bush loop. They have, I think there's a loop that goes over to College Ave as well, because we usually meet on Livingston campus. For anyone that's listening that isn't familiar with how Rutgers is laid out, we kind of have four campuses. Livingston and Bush are on one side of the Raritan River, and then College Ave and Cook Douglas are on the other side of the Raritan River. All the athletic facilities are between Livingston and Bush campuses, so that's just where there's more space. So they have a couple of different loops that they'll do, and then other than that, we're like on the track in the bubble. We do use Colonial Park a decent amount for long runs. That's just one of the entrances to the tow path that starts in New Brunswick. So we will go there sometimes. In indoor, when we don't want to be doing like crazy amounts of volume on the indoor track, we will go to Johnson Park, which is just right across the street from the football stadium. They have a roughly 2 mile stretch of road that usually is plowed fairly well if we do get any snowfall. That we'll do some like longer intervals on there if it's not like 10 degrees outside. Or we have gone in the past for some long runs over to the Columbia Trail. We have a decent amount of kids from the Hunterdon County area, so they always like to go there. And then we have used River Road a couple of times in Bedminster. That one's just like that's a hilly long run, so that's not great for like a recovery long run. So that would be something that we might hit earlier in the season, but around now, we're like, now we're going to stay flat. We're going to stay like controlled. We don't need any crazy efforts. But yeah, we have our different running routes.
Coach, how does it work with the four campuses? Because I remember way back in 94 when I was going through the recruiting process and stuff and talking, that was always, I guess, for lack of a better term, a knock that I heard from different people about Rutgers with the different campuses and being spread out and that being a challenge for athletes to navigate. Is that something that comes up in conversation, or are kids asking that at all?
Yeah, they are, for sure. I think each campus kind of has a different vibe. So I know Livingston is the one that has been built up the most in like recent years. It used to just be, I think, a couple of dorms, maybe a couple of academic buildings, but now our business school is there. Obviously, our Jersey Mike's Arena, which is where the basketball team plays, is there. And the outdoor track is there. New building athletic performance center is also there. So like if you're in the business school, there's also beautiful new apartments, the Livingston apartments. So we try to get as many of our athletes into those apartments as we can. So if you are a business major living in Livingston apartments on the track team, like your entire existence can be on Livingston campus. So Livingston's more business, and then you go over to Bush. That's like where the sciences, engineering, pharmacy is over there. yeah, most of like your bios, your chems, all of that stuff. So if you're a science person, you might be like trekking back and forth between Livingston and Bush. Um, then College Ave is like that's the original Rutgers campus. So you have like your education, economics, communication, like all of those kind of specialties over on College Ave. And then Cook Doug is the farthest one. That's where the Rutgers farm is. We do have a couple of animal science majors, so they trek over there to the Rutgers farm to take care of the animals. Also, some exercise science classes will be over there. But yeah, the busing system, from what I hear, is relatively okay at times. There's a little app for uh, just like with the different bus routes. So, like when your bus is coming. We also, people can have cars on campus. So you can have, your residential pass for where you're living and parking, and then you can get a commuter pass for another lot. Also teammates, maybe you have a teammate that is willing to like drop you off. So it can be hard at times to navigate the different campuses, but with the amount of time you're probably spending on Livingston campus versus the other campuses, like you'll find a way to make it work. And it's not really any different if you think of some of the other Big Ten schools that just have one ginormous campus and everything is like mixed around, that you might have to travel more on some of those campuses than maybe you have a couple days a week that you have to stray from like your home base campus. Especially with practice being like between Livingston and Bush when we're at the outdoor track versus the indoor track. Those two campuses are right next to each other. So they're easy enough to get to. I mean, I've done the walk from like the football stadium on one end of Bush campus back to our offices on Livingston campus, and it's taken me like 20 to 25 minutes to walk. So I'm sure more in shape people can get there quicker, or if they have their e-scooters or whatever their bicycles, whatever they got. So yeah, it's not the worst thing to have the four campuses. And then you have, like College Ave is the downtown area. So you get that kind of like downtown vibe versus your Bush and your Livingston, where you almost feel like you're in like a little small college town in a way.
So, and imagine if anything, it just teaches kids to be better at time management.
Yes, definitely. And then our academic advisor, if you're like scheduling between different campuses, like they leave a lot of time between classes for that change. So, and she won't like have you going from like Cook Doug to Livingston or something like that. And especially as like a freshman and a sophomore, a lot of the intro classes are offered on multiple campuses. So you're not necessarily like having to trek around as much as you might have to like once you maybe get into your specialty, but then by then you're used to everything, how everything works.
Are the majority of cross country and track and field athletes living on campus?
We're actually split. So we have a couple people, like I would say about half the team lives in the Livingston apartments on campus. Half the team lives off campus. We've got a girls track house or distance house, two guys distance houses, and I believe the girls have an apartment off campus as well. So yeah, it's whatever really they want to do. We don't force them one way or the other. I mean, I know a lot of people, they're like, oh, the Livingston apartments. We've actually had someone in the past move from Livingston apartments to off campus to come back onto campus in Livingston apartments because it's just so convenient to be so close to practice, especially if you're in the business school. Again, everything is literally within a 5-minute walk from where you live.
The landscape of Rutgers athletics has changed a lot, definitely since Rich and I were in the recruiting process, and probably since you were in the recruiting process. Do you feel like it is more of an option for New Jersey runners to give Rutgers a look because it is in the Big Ten?
I think so. I mean, that's definitely what we're trying to do. We're not really like dabbling in the like overseas recruiting a lot, at least on the distance side. Kind of our main goal is to give a lot of these New Jersey kids an option to stay home if they want to. I know in the past it's been just like everyone wants to like hightail it out of here, but it's like this isn't a bad spot to train. Like you have really good competition in the Big Ten. You have really good training facilities. I mean, again, like the towpath is literally across the street from the football stadium. You have that soft surface access right there. You have an indoor track. You have a recently resurfaced outdoor track. You have multiple weight rooms. Like you have options. And we just like want to make the kids in New Jersey like aware of that. Sometimes I think kind of what you were saying with like the busing and the different campuses, like that can intimidate people. So we like to bring them in, give them a tour. We're like, look, this is not as overwhelming and intimidating as you might think it is. So we've had luck. We have the majority of our guys are from New Jersey. We like actually have only a handful of people from out of state. The women's team is slightly more out of state on the distance side, but still not too much. Like the majority is always going to be New Jersey athletes, just because we are obviously a very talented state. There's a lot of talent to pull from, and if Coach Lexia and I are doing our jobs correctly, we're going to develop them to be the best versions of themselves they can be, and hopefully, start to pick teams off in the Big Ten.
So one thing we hear a lot about with Division One athletics is the NIL, how it's changing the game. How has that affected Rutgers cross country and track and field?
Yeah, so actually we just got a new athletic director, Kelly Zinn. She came from LSU along with our president, William Tate. So she has been big on the NIL push. Sounds like she did a lot of work at LSU for that. Now she wants to bring that to Rutgers. So honestly, in the past, there hasn't been a ton. I think a couple of people have um they're posting like they have like maybe little deals with like CVS or Hollister, or like there's just been kind of these like one-offs. But now that we actually have like the Rutgers NIL is in place, we're hoping that we're going to see a little bit more. We know it's going to be more football and basketball heavy, obviously at the beginning, but we on the track side we had, a couple of All-Americans. Bryce Tucker was eighth at the last outdoor championships. So like if I don't know, if someone wants to give him an NIL deal, get it to him. I know that it's going to be like the very highest level athletes, like kind of in these Olympic sports, getting those NIL deals directly from Rutgers.
And another thing changing the game in Division One athletics is the portal. How has the portal been to you, and do you use it?
Yeah, the portal's been pretty good to us. It has changed even like since it I guess came into existence. It's like changed a lot just like now with roster limitations, with NIL, because we can have 17 on the cross country roster and up to 45 on the track roster. And those actually can count like separately. So, um, we've gotten some transfers for sure off of the portal. A couple years ago, we had a trio from Penn and a girl from Kansas State, a guy from New Orleans. So we have definitely like dabbled in that a little bit. It's been slightly quieter more recently. We have right now two transfers on the team, one from Louisville, one from LSU on the distance side at least. So we're not trying to bring like a ton of transfers in every year because we want, to kind of build the culture that we want and then bring people in off the portal that we see like will add to the program. So actually both of the transfers that we did get are both originally from New Jersey. So, they left, wanted to come back. We said, absolutely, like come join the squad. We've also had people leave that, maybe Rutgers isn't the right fit for them. They want to go elsewhere. That's just kind of the day and age that we're in with the portal. Makes it a lot easier for them to leave if they want. But I would say it's been overall a net positive for us.
That was going to be my question. Are you looking specifically in the portal for New Jersey athletes that are potentially looking to come home?
Yeah, there's people in there that it's like, oh, like I maybe recruited you or tried to recruit you when you were a freshman and now you have a couple seasons of eligibility and you want to do grad school. Like that, we'll look at that probably a little bit more than undergraduate transfers a little bit.
With the grad transfers, I know Rutgers has pretty solid master's programs. Again, that was something that I think you don't necessarily think about as a college kid or a recruit, the potential for going on and getting your master's. But within New Jersey, but also outside of New Jersey, I think Rutgers holds a high regard as a high level institution. And I think sometimes maybe New Jersey kids don't necessarily think that is the case. Is that still something you encounter, or is that just something from the 90s and my recruiting days?
No, I think that's something that we still kind of deal with a little bit. I think it's especially something like the business school, like the network of alumni in this tri-state area that wants to hire a Rutgers grad. Maybe not something that you're thinking about as a freshman or as a senior in high school going into your freshman year of college, but then your senior year of college, you're thinking about it. So it's, if you can go home, get a great degree, like get hired, why not?
And you mentioned when you were in college, because of track and field, you didn't necessarily have the opportunity or the time, rather, to do the internships and stuff. But that's another thing that we like to talk with the coaches about is internship opportunities. And I was imagining, as you just said, being relatively close proximity to New York, and with the alumni bases, there's probably a lot of internship opportunities for upperclassmen.
Yeah, and we have a whole department dedicated to that, Scarlet Knights for Life. Shout out to our girl Elise Washington. She has been great for us. I mean, they provide options like for individual meetings as early as your freshman year, getting your resume, getting your LinkedIn, getting a professional headshot, kind of all of that stuff. And then as you kind of progress through your education, going and using them as an option for finding an internship. We do a couple of, they call it the nights of networking that we'll do two every year, one in the fall, one in the winter, where we'll bring back people, Rutgers graduates that, are in the real world now and they are looking to hire Rutgers grads and just have a conversation with people. And that's open to all athletes, not just upperclassmen. So we encourage everyone to go, like starting your freshman year, that it's like, look, you got to have a plan, because a lot of people are obviously going to go into things other than sports when they graduate. I just happen to get lucky so that I still get to work in athletics. But yeah, the options there are great. The infrastructure is there. Really what we say is all you need to do is like make the appointment. No one's going to like make the appointment with Scarlet Knights for Life for you. Although at least might, email and be like, hey, come meet with me. But yeah, there's also actually like an intro, they call it like the athlete class when you are in your freshman year, just kind of introducing you to all of the different resources that we have. And I know they do a kind of a unit on the Scarlet Knights for Life and what they can help provide you with. I know, and I don't know if this has changed at a school like University of Richmond, but that, a smaller liberal arts school, I think we had like 4,000 people there total. They're just using like their, I guess for the general student population is what their career services are for. Like at a Big Ten school, like this Scarlet Knights for Life is just for athletes. So you have your entire, like this career center for, the crew of 600 athletes versus the entire Rutgers student population, which I am going to guess is around 25,000 undergrads. I probably should know that exact number, but I don't. But I know it's a lot bigger than Richmond was.
It's bigger than Monmouth, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Coach, you competed in the Olympic trials. Is that something that you're talking to your athletes about and kind of getting their brains going with, hey, this is something you can do. This is where we want the program to go?
A little bit here and there. I mean, like we mentioned, that Alex Carlson came through the program, set a lot of the program records. From what I understand, she's still out, training in Flagstaff, trying to take it to the next level. Our girl, Cassidy Johnson, one of the grad transfers from Kansas State a couple years ago, she is now running professionally for Under Armour down in Baltimore. So, there have been people come through the program that have like taken it to the next level. Whether it's kind of on some of our people's radars, like a little bit, yes and no. But I think we also have a group, like they might continue running after college. Billy Hill is a great example. He graduated a couple years ago. He actually is coaching at Franklin High School. He is being trained by one of my old buddies. So he just like being, I guess, seeing that option that like, hey, it doesn't have to end here. Like you can continue to pursue this. And that's, I guess, the nice thing about running is you don't necessarily have to be on a team. Like sure, having a sponsor makes things a lot easier. But at the end of the day, if you're like living at home, like if you don't have to pay rent, you kind of have your parents as a support system, and you want to keep training and you have someone to help train you, like you can go as far as you, I guess, as far as you want really in the sport. Whether that's going all the way to the Olympic trials or just continuing to compete like in your local road races. If you want to get on to the track, come indoor and outdoor season, like this is a great area to do that in.
You mentioned in the role as the associate head coach, you're getting more one-on-one time with the athletes. How much of your time is coaching and how much of your time is being a therapist?
Probably like 10% coaching, 90% other things. Like the actual like writing the training is actually a very small part of the actual coaching. And I don't know if a lot of people that like want to get into coaching truly understand that. I know like Coach Lexi, she just graduated from Wisconsin, not this past year, but the year before. So just kind of she's like kind of seeing now that like opening the eyes to like what college athletics is really like, that she's like, oh my gosh, like we really like we have a lot of one-on-one meetings with people that, we're talking not necessarily about training, like sure, training and goals and everything come up, but just like finding out how they're doing outside of running, like class wise, socially, like what are we up to? How are we liking things? So yeah, we try to find time to meet with the athletes one-on-one, carving out 15, 20, 30 minutes of time, having them come in and just like get that time with them. Because obviously that only helps build the trust that it's like, hey, coach doesn't just see me as like someone on the team that's gonna run whatever. That we want to like genuinely get to know them, just be there to support them through whatever they're going through.
How ready do you feel a lot of the kids are to be on their own, to do their own things? And how much do you kind of have to hold their hand, but at sometimes let go and be like, hey, you got to figure this out on yourself. You're going to be an adult soon.
Yeah, I mean, when they come in as freshmen, I mean, some I guess you just see the different levels of, I guess, maturity and then like how, prepared they are like for the next step in life. But we just hope that we can help play a small part in like getting them ready for graduation. But like I was like, I know Scarlet Knights for Life does a great job with that, with like the career aspect of it, but just like yeah, just getting them ready to send them off on their own. I guess just talking about we've joked that it's like, oh, like, we could do like a personal finance class for with some of them. Just like being like, this is how you need to like manage your money, or like this is what a credit card is, like these little kind of things here and there. But I think overall, like the kids that we get in, they they're good kids and they're gonna go on and do great things. And yeah, we hope that we can play a small part in their story.
Coach, you mentioned the small percentage that is the X's and O's of writing, training, and programming. And cross country, it's one distance or two distances, one for men, one for women. So everyone's kind of doing sort of the same thing. Training is relatively similar, but when it gets to indoor and outdoor, and you being a great steeplechaser, do you have a favorite event that you like to coach in the track seasons?
I mean, I do. I definitely love coaching the steeplechase. We've had a couple people dabble in the event since I have come onto the staff. But no, I mean, I enjoy writing the training for all the groups. I know in track, yeah, like kind of. So how we do things, we have a Google Doc basically that we have two versions of it. One that Lexi and I can see, and then the other one that all the athletes can see. So basically every week we kind of refresh the one that they see. So they kind of see like their mileage goals for the week, how many minutes we want them to cross train, just like the layout of the whole week. And then we'll update usually like Monday night. So like probably when we get off this podcast, I'll be updating the workouts for tomorrow. And then Thursday night for like the Friday work. So we have like the cross country one. Each day gets a lot shorter because there's only like a couple of different groups. Pretty much most people are doing the same thing. Mid distance has their own kind of thing. The guys that are still with us but don't run cross country. But pretty much the cross country group, it's varying volumes, but everyone's relatively doing the same thing. But then when we get to track, it's like way longer that we have our like 800 guys, some of our guys that do like 8/15. Then we have like, 3K, 5K, and then like the long distance. So it's almost like four different groups. And sometimes they like intertwine a little bit. But then with steeple specific stuff, we won't do a lot of that until like the end of indoor, early outdoor. Like we'll do some drills and stuff during the indoor season. We'll go over some hurdles a little bit, but nothing nothing over hurdles like in workouts in the indoor track, especially in the bubble. There's not enough room, unfortunately, to do that, even if we wanted to. But yeah, I like probably one of my favorite workouts like for steepling is doing like some 400 repeats like at your goal race pace, just so then you're kind of helping like sorry, the best way to explain this, like kind of gauging how fast you're going to be coming at the hurdle steeple in the race. And still getting that kind of like mental confidence in hitting that pace, but then obviously getting your breaks every 400. So you're not like going into the well and doing like a full race pace effort in a practice. But yeah, of course I am biased towards my steeplers, but we love every event group.
Sure. And I'm curious because I ran steeple too, but as a coach, in a state like New Jersey that doesn't really have steeple, and most high schools don't really offer steeplechase, some of the national meets host and stuff. But what are some key indicators that you're maybe looking at assessing maybe during the cross country and indoor season to find new potential steeplers?
Mostly like the number one thing I would say is like the athlete wanting to do it. Because if they don't want to do it and you're kind of just like looking to see if they have like the physical markers, they're not going to be good at it because they're not going to be able to like get over the mental barrier of like the actual physical barriers and especially the water jump. So even like Mekhi Lawson is a great example. He is a junior right now from Rahway High School. He came in, didn't run the steeple his freshman year at all. And then last year was like, hey, coach, like, I want to try it. So we did, just a couple of like hurdling drills in the indoor season. And then he, did great with them. Was fearless over, we don't practice into the actual water. We'll set the barrier up in front of the long jump pits and just go into the sand. Was great at that. So then we were like, yeah, let's do it. Same with our girl, Sophia. She had actually done the steeple. She's from New York. So she had actually done the steeplechase in like 7th grade. And she was like, oh, like, I kind of want to try it. And she was a junior. She was a junior last year. So like her first 2 years, she was more 800, 1500. And then it was like, oh, like, I want to try this. She unfortunately took a little tumble, and is recovering from an injury from Big Ten outdoors, but she'll be back. I don't know if she'll want to do steeple again, but we'll get there. We'll get to that. We'll climb that mountain when we get there. But yeah, the most important thing is just wanting to do it, and then we can kind of like work the rest. Either it clicks or it doesn't, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Yeah, I hear you.
Coach, what type of student athlete are you looking for to fit the culture of Rutgers track, field, and cross country?
We want someone that wants to compete. That's like bottom line. They want to compete, and in a way, in the classroom, you're essentially like competing for the best grades. So we want someone that wants to compete on the track, wants to compete in the classroom. That's like the one thing that we look for the most. But then also wanting to compete, but then also just being a good teammate, and supporting the people around you. That it's not like, hey, me over the team. Like we never want that kind of attitude. And then usually a big thing now that we've kind of established a good culture on the team, we always ask for our hosts' feedback when we do have recruits on campus. And we've stopped recruiting people based on like some of their feedback, that if it's like, oh, like this person might not be wanting to come here for the right reasons. Like I trust the kids that we have on the team now. Like we brought them in for a reason. So we're like, if you're telling me that you don't think this kid is going to fit, then I believe you. As good as they might be, we might have to say goodbye.
I take it you've had those experiences where they come in on Monday and they're like, oh, you don't want to know what this kid did at the food trucks on Saturday night.
Right. Yeah. That it's kind of like, yeah, like we think that, this might not be the best fit. They usually won't go into detail, but then we're like, okay, like if you don't think that, then we trust you.
Is there anything about the program that we haven't covered that you want our audience to know?
Um, I think we covered a lot. I think the main thing is that, you might have feelings about how Rutgers distance has been run in the past, and we're changing the game, Coach Lexi and I. So we're excited about the future. I mean, like we said, we're coming off of a really good race at Princeton. Like my spirits are really high. Everyone's spirits are really high. I know I talked about the guys, but the ladies as well. We have a strong group up front, and we're just looking to close our pack a little bit come Big Tens. But yeah, like what you might think about Rutgers distance in the past is not how we're trying to do things moving forward. We want to bring the success that Coach Gags brought back in the 80s. I know it's obviously an entirely different landscape now than it was back then, but we can have that Rutgers pride, that New Jersey pride. We have little New Jersey like outlines on the back of our jerseys. So I just like you have, you're running with that on your back, like you're out there representing not just yourself, not your university, but your whole state. And for the 85% of the kids on the distance team that are from New Jersey, like that's a pretty big deal for them.
Well, we love to hear that. Rich has always been a cross country track and field nerd, but because of the podcast, he's been getting me into this. So we can't wait to see you guys at Big Tens and then at Nationals too, and rooting for New Jersey.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate that.
Final four, Rich?
I got one more question. So, Coach, I'm a huge Gags fan.
Okay.
I can remember back in the day during Penn Relays weekend, the Philadelphia channel, whatever, used to play from like 8 o'clock in the morning to the last race. And the one year they had Gags mic'd up.
Oh
And
gosh.
it was during the men's 4 by mile. And it was after they had lost the previous night to Arkansas in the distance medley. So he was just so fired up and animated. I've just been a huge fan of him and everything he's done ever since then. So do you have a favorite gag story that you could share with us?
So I guess it's not necessarily like one specific story, but like when I joined NJNY in the fall of 2012, like I was saying, like my credentials were not nearly as good as like the girls that I was coming to train with, but that was like part of the reason why I wanted to train with them because I wanted to like push myself to be the best I could be. So he started calling me slow-mo from my first practice on. He was like, he doesn't drink anymore. He, maybe dabbled in that back in the day, but he was like sober then. He's like, the day you break 30 seconds in the 200, I'm cracking open an ice cold beer. And I was just like, oh no, am I really that slow? But, it became like more of a running joke. And then just some of like the little things that he say, like you never wanted to be a BI. BI was a bad investment. That he would kind of tease us like, oh, like if you're going to do that, like, I don't need any more BIs on the team. So just like, yeah, little things like that to like tease us, but it was all in good fun. I mean, you could always hear him across the track, like to hit it, like in a hard workout or even like in a race that it's like, okay, like you just know that means it's time to go. But yeah, it's the NJNY days were really fun. I've kept in contact with a couple of teammates, from the team then. And we were actually at pre-Big Tens, had like a mini reunion because one of our buddies lives out there now, so we were just like kind of reliving some of those stories with him, which was really fun. But yeah, he's back in New Jersey now. He was in New York for a little while, but yeah, he's back in Jersey, still hanging. I'm like, Gags, anytime you want to come to practice, come on by. The Livingston track is just as windy as it's always been. We have like these flags by the track, and you just know that when the flags are sticking straight out, it's going to be a rough workout day. But it's been like that since we were then. That's kind of the other cool part about being back at Rutgers now is that we use those facilities to train like 2012 through 2014, I want to say. So like I've done numerous laps around our outdoor track. I've trained in the bubble. Like, so when kids are kind of talking about that, I'm like, oh yeah, like I've been here to train, maybe not during my college days, but I have trained on our facilities, and I know that, the towpath, done tons of long runs on there. I used to live in Highland Park for a little bit of time after I moved out of my parents' place, which is, the town next to campus. So I'm like I've lived this. I kind of can relate to what you guys are going through being in college in this area.
I lied. I got one more. So Jimmy and I are both out of state now. Jimmy's in Florida. I'm in South Carolina. We've lived out west as well. But we have a lot of pride in the fact that we're from New Jersey. We wear that, on our sleeve, and we take a lot of pride in that. And you mentioned the map of New Jersey on the back of your singlets. Do the kids have a lot of pride in the fact that they are from New Jersey, or is that something that maybe comes after leaving the state and then coming back to it, or having that pride?
No, I think they definitely do.
Yeah.
I know like what was that? There's that Phil Murphy like quote, I whatever that was like, we're from Jersey, baby, and you're not. Like that was kind of a little like sound bite that a lot of the team was like, whenever that went viral, maybe last year or 2 years ago, whatever it was. But yeah, like I definitely think especially the kids from New Jersey and even our out of state athletes, like once you're like on the team and you're living in Jersey, like you're from New Jersey now too. I mean, who wouldn't love New Jersey and especially New Brunswick? You're close to the beach. You're you can like get out to like the country-ish, like you can go apple picking, pumpkin picking in the fall. Like you're not too far from like going to upstate New York. You're not far from the city. You're not far from Philly. I guess the city, New York, that's always been my city. I know some people think that the city is Philly, but it's New York. You're close to all of these things. Like what's not to love about New Jersey?
Yeah. I saw a clip last night. I don't even know who the actor was or who he was, but it was for Esquire, and they asked him, they're like, what is the most New Jersey thing about you? And he's like, I'd have to say water.
Oh gosh, yeah, the accent. Which I almost feel like that's maybe a little bit more of a South Jersey. I don't know. Because I feel like I say water. I had a teammate actually in college. She was from Roxbury, and like we would laugh at the way she said water. Like it was like water.
Yep.
Like what? Like that. But yeah, I guess you have the different accents. Like there's not one Jersey accent. There's like a bunch of Jersey accents.
For sure.
Yeah, me and Rich get in arguments because I still say wash with an R.
Oh geez.
Yeah, exactly. Final four, Jim?
Yes, sir.
Let's do
Coach,
it.
are you a coffee drinker?
Yes.
How do you brew your coffee and how do you take it?
So I will usually actually do like we just have the Keurig coffee pods at home. I usually go with Starbucks Pike Place, and then I actually recently, like probably within the past year, have been doing the like just like a vanilla protein shake into the coffee. So I like get a little extra protein in the morning. Just as I get older, I need to prioritize my protein intake. But when I am ordering from somewhere, like I love fall drinks, I love pumpkin. I'm one of those girls, so I love the pumpkin, like the cold or the whatever, the cold foam now that they put on top. Like I love that. So the Starbucks, the pumpkin foam cold brew, whatever it's called. Like usually the first day it comes out, like I'm drinking that. But then now I'm almost kind of sick of it a little bit and waiting for the peppermint drinks to come out. But yeah, definitely a coffee drinker.
Peppermint's not too far off. I mean,
No, it's not.
we started pumpkin spice back in August, so I could see how you could get a little palate fatigue from it now that we're actually in October. Coach, do you have any daily practices or rituals you do on a regular basis to show up as the strongest version of Nicol Starks?
I guess really the main thing is like I try to work out like 6 times a week still. Obviously I'm not doing the level of running that I once did, but I feel like having that, like getting the endorphins from my exercise is important. So right now I actually do like or I try my best to do 2 days a week running 3 to 4 miles, nothing crazy. 2 days, Stairmaster. That's like actually after having my daughter, like Stairmastering has been like a good way to like get almost like that cardio fitness, but also like building a little bit of muscle in the lower body. So I try to do that 2 days a week for 30 minutes. And then I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this, Legree Fitness. So that actually became like once I stopped running in 2016, just with all of by then I had like a couple injuries that I had, kind of been brushing under the rug for a while and like trying to take care of my body as a whole. The best way to describe it is like strength training mixed with Pilates. That's kind of what the founder created his own little method. So I actually teach at a local studio in Montclair that a friend of mine opened up, and I try to do those classes like twice a week. It's a lot of core, a lot of legs, like basically you're just getting like a full body burn. So I try to do that twice a week. Then I feel like that's like the good balance that I'm in. And then I take a rest day once a week, or I try. That is like my ideal schedule. Sometimes I have a couple extra running days, especially when we're like on the road, and I'm like, oh, I'll just run 3 miles today. Like it's no big deal, but we're not doing any more of those like 14-mile long runs. I don't do like track workouts anymore. That's a thing of the past, I think.
Is the Pilates on a reformer?
So it's actually on they call it a megaformer. So it's like a
Megaformer,
version of a
sorry.
reformer, but it's been like souped up a little bit. But like I love like this the spring tension and like the varying tension and stuff. And like I said, it's like so much core work. I remember the first class I ever did, I was like, oh, like I'm coming off of like running these 70-mile weeks. Like this isn't gonna be that challenging. And then like I was sore for like 3 days. Like I couldn't cough or laugh because my like core was so sore.
Yeah.
Coach, what are you listening to right now? Music, podcasts, audiobooks? Are you reading anything?
I'm not a big reader. I like kind of hate reading, but
Me too.
I don't consider myself a Swiftie, but I have been listening to Taylor Swift's new album. I enjoy her new I have been enjoying her new album. That's probably what I've been like listening to on my way to work since it's come out. But I mean, I guess I'm not like a big or like I don't have one specific thing that I listen to. It's kind of like whatever Spotify thinks I want to listen to, I'll just whatever it curates for me, I'll just press play.
Now, you're a New Jersey native, so do you pump your fist at all?
That was a big thing in college. Even though that we were down in Richmond, there was like a lot of Jersey girls on the team, which is funny, which is, going back to like now at Rutgers, I'm trying to keep all of those kids at home and not going out of state. But yeah, like I want to say our top like 3 girls or 4 girls in our top 7 were all from Jersey. So we were like, it was big, like in our social gatherings in college, it was like, oh, like team Jersey versus team everybody else. And yeah, we would like do the fist pumping a little bit, but I try not to do that anymore.
Okay. Team Jersey, I love it.
Yeah.
Coach, last one to close out, it's a lighthearted one. Maybe you frequent not frequent, but maybe you stop at the food trucks on College Ave. Maybe it's a beverage. I know Coach Goodell's an avid golfer. You mentioned you're not a Swiftie, but maybe you're a closet Swiftie. Do you have a guilty pleasure?
Um, Chick-fil-A milkshakes, if that counts. 'Cause
Absolutely.
actually they don't have the food trucks don't exist at Rutgers anymore.
Really?
That like whole so that plot of land, I guess, where the food trucks would pull up, they now have like an actual like brick and mortar place called Are You Hungry? And that's where they do like the fat sandwiches and stuff because that was like what I guess was in a lot of those food trucks. So now they actually have a physical place, and actually now there's apartment or student living, but like apartment buildings like in that plot of land. But yeah, they saved the fat sandwiches. They do still exist. But yeah, I am a big Chick-fil-A lover. If you haven't tried their cherry berry frosted lemonade, I highly recommend it. There's like the one part of the year where it comes out, it's like that and pumpkin at the same time. But like their cookies and cream milkshake, you can never go wrong. But we've done like we did like one of our team meals at the beginning of like preseason that it was like we have a bunch of meetings that day. We're gonna order food. I'm like, we're ordering Chick-fil-A. Like anytime I can order it, we're gonna order it.
What was it? Cherry what?
Cherry berry frosted lemonade. So like
Cherry
the regular frosted lemonade is on their schedule, but this is like their seasonal flavor. So it's only here until I think the middle of November is what I saw. So I have to get it a couple more times before it goes away for the year.
And that's a milkshake?
It's kind of a
Like
milkshake because it's basically like the lemonade mixed with vanilla ice cream. So like I don't know if you've ever done their frosted coffee. That's like the same thing. It's basically a coffee milkshake that they just mix coffee and their soft serve vanilla. It's really good.
what?
Now I
It's
know
like
why
secret menu is unlocked.
yeah. Now I know
Not
why
even
the
it's not
longing.
a secret though. It's like, out.
Frosted coffee?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Our
Chick-fil-A.
actually the first time I had that was with our throws coach and our pole vault coach. I think it was at like regionals or something. They were like sitting in the lobby and the pole vault coach comes in with like his bags of Chick-fil-A and I was like, "What is that drink?" It's like it's frosted coffee. Like you never had that, and I was like, "No." So I had to go try it, and it was really good.
Oh, I would
Definitely
imagine.
like you can't do it in the cold though. You have to do it in
Mhm.
the warmth. The hot, they're the coffee one at least.
Wow.
Yeah.
Learned something new today, Jim.
There you
Yeah,
go.
now I know why the line's always out the parking lot at Chick-fil-A.
Yep.
Coach Starks, thank you so much for your time tonight. Can't wait to see what the Scarlet Knights do for the rest of the season and in indoor and outdoor track and field. So thank you so much for your time.
And thank you guys for having me. It was a great conversation. Flew by.
That's what we do over here at Airey Bros.
Yeah.
But it was an honor and a pleasure to get to know you tonight, Coach. And best of luck at Big Tens next week. And as Jimmy said, we'll be rooting for the Scarlet Knights in the postseason and definitely in indoor and outdoor track as well.
Thank you guys so much.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is Coach Nicol Starks from the Scarlet Knights at Rutgers University. Make sure you check out those links in the show notes. Go give the Scarlet Knights, Harriers, and track and field athletes a little love. Let them know the Airey Bros sent you. We will be back on Wednesday night. We will be doing a roundtable with some coaches from the Jayhawk Conference. It's one of the strongest junior college conferences in the nation, and we're excited to talk to them about some of their ranked teams heading into the postseason in cross country and the NJC